Now it's time for our wellness conversation. And this Wednesday, we're joined once again by Obi Nadi, the radio doctor. We're talking children and mental health. The young also cry. She's the founder of Thrive Network, a leading mental health NGO championing awareness and support for over 6 years. It's always great to have you.
Thank you so much, Titi. It's always great to be here. Thank you.
The conversation we had last week was a powerful one.
Yes,
I got a lot of conversation started with that on retirement, but now we're going right down to the other end of the family now.
Yes,
the kids.
Exactly.
Now I'm going to start with this. There are a lot of implications. It's implied that we are raising soft children in this generation because children in this generation are said to be aware of their mental health. Now, I'm one that I really want my children to be strong.
Yeah.
But what defines strength in 2025 might be different to what defined it when I was younger.
Yes.
So how do you start this conversation?
Okay, well, I think this is a very important aspect of parenting, 21st century parenting and mental health that you just raised. And one thing I say to people, especially millennials and baby boomers who have Gen Z children, Gen Alpha children, when they say, I think when you raise mental health, you're actually asking us to raise weak children. I ask them, I say, look, what was it like in our generation? I mean, baby boomers and millennials are the adults we have today. Yeah. We have a lot of angry adults in society.
Very true.
We have adults who are not in touch with their emotions. True. We have adults who are highly irritable. And all of this is because there was no awareness on emotional regulation and dysregulation, how to manage challenging emotions and all of that. So for me, what I say when people, say things like this is, number one, when we talk mental health and children, we're not asking you to raise weak children or overindulge children. Okay. In fact, on the contrary, what parents who are aware of, mental health and parenting are doing is actually raising children who are mentally strong enough to withstand the challenges that comes with adulting. Now, for instance, with parenting methods like authoritarian parents who are too strict with children, we see the eventual outcomes. They raise pathological liars, or they tend to raise pathological liars. Okay,
so because these parents are so strict, these kids lie to get out of punishment.
Exactly.
Right?
They like to get out of punishment. They're afraid of the implications of making a mistake. And we all know nobody is above a mistake.
And mistakes are how you learn.
Thank you so much. Mistakes are how you learn. You're right? And then we also have the aspect of identity struggles. These children hardly know who they are because they aligned with who their parents wanted them to be while they were much younger, right? And not parents guiding them to be themselves and reach their full potentials. Then you have the flip side of overindulgence with parenting. When you have the helicopter parents, that's parents who overindulge children, who let children do whatever they want to do, who say, okay, you know what, just find your way in the world and all of that. So what then happens is these children become adults who tend to have mental health problems like depression. They're easily overwhelmed.
Not having their way.
Thank you. They're not having their way. Nobody taught them how to manage pressure, how to resolve conflicts peacefully, things like that. So it is the techniques in place with parenting that goes a long way to determine good or bad mental health in children, not necessarily the concept of mental health.
Okay. So now, obviously, as whenever we hear the term mental health, a lot of people think of mental institutions and the psychiatry of it all.
Yes.
There's also the psychology of it all.
Yes.
And making sure that we are putting things in place in front of our children so that they can emulate, well, I'm going to use the term good attitudes, good behaviors, but good is relative.
Yeah,
relative to different.
Exactly.
So some parents think some things are good, some parents don't. But I still believe that a lot of parents haven't come to terms with the fact that children have personalities. Children are people already.
Yes.
And how do we even define who a person is at this point? someone that has a personality.
Yes.
Is someone that knows what they want, what they like,
absolutely.
what they dislike,
absolutely.
what upsets them.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely. And at a certain age, you see children who even discover their purpose, their talents, you know, while still much younger.
But
and
that talent might be something a parent doesn't like.
That's the thing.
Okay.
And so because the parents don't like it, they tend to, you know, push the children, and I use the word push because of course they're not going to be gentle about it when the children are not towing the path that they want them to. But you're right, children have personalities. Like, there are 5 of us in my family. I have 4 siblings. If the 5 of us are in this room, Titi, you will not believe we were raised in the same home. Why? Because we're all different people.
Wow.
Right? We might have the uniting factor, which is the way we were raised, our outlook to life. But my immediate younger sister, for instance, she's very flamboyant. She's the life of the party. She will not be here, and you will not know she's here. So things like that determine or shape who your children eventually become. And of course, we're talking to the mental health and children. And I need parents to know, number one, for children's mental health, there's a complex interplay of the biological, the social, the environmental, and psychological factors.
Wow.
All these factors make up children's mental health. And then depending on what is going on with the child at every point in time, it then determines good or bad mental health.
Okay.
You know, when we were much younger, my mom would say to us, "What are you thinking? You don't have any problems. You're not paying school fees, you're not paying the bills, all you do is eat my food." But guess what? I wrote JAMB twice. I had to write JAMB twice. So the first year, I didn't do so well.
Wow.
Most of my mates moved on to the university.
Yeah. So you felt bad about that?
Absolutely. So my self-esteem took a hit.
Sure.
And of course, I'm eating, and unluckily for me, my parents, my mom or dad will walk in and say, that's all you know how to do, eat. You think this is how your friends ate their way into the university.
Wow.
So, you know, things like that will impact my mental health at the time. But because my parents did not know much about mental health, so we literally navigated our way through life. I'm talking about boomers and millennials right now. But it is so different for children of today because, like you said, they're aware of their mental health. They're aware that factors like abuse, factors like bullying, can impact their mental health.
That bullying conversation is one that we have to touch on.
Yes.
Yes. So my girls are just started just one.
Oh,
and I had to have that bullying conversation. Now the bullying conversation for us was a little different when they were in primary school. Why? Because my girls are tall. They're tall like their dad. You know, they're boisterous. They're quite eloquent, and it also meant that they were considered leaders in that space. But now the tides sort of turn. Now they will never be at the bottom of the food chain in Jesus' name. They're in the lowest class right now of 6 classes.
Yes.
So there are students above them. They don't understand that. They understand being at the top or being
taking
in charge,
the lead.
taking the lead. And it was a major shift. So these conversations are still ongoing even till now. But then we've raised them to be leaders. So how do you now tell them to step back because they are seniors above you, that are supposed to be in charge of you, are supposed to tell you what to do and lead you now. You're supposed to be led. I'm still on that particular journey now. I'm wondering how to even take that because it does seem to them like they're being bullied.
Because they have seniors ahead of them. Like prefects who tell you what to do and all of that. Well, first of all, I am super impressed that you're this aware as a parent because most times when I, talk to parents concerning bullying and children, a lot of parents are not even aware of the importance of having these conversations. They are not aware of the importance of words of affirmation. You say to your kids, you're beautiful, you're confident, and all of that. So in this case, like you said, there is a major shift from what the girls are used to and all of that. But what I say to my kids is, yes, you are leaders, but guess what? Leaders are also open to learning, right? And you will learn from other people as well. It's a two-way street. And in the course of learning, they can also learn a thing or two from you. And the other thing is that I'd like to say, you already said your girls are tall, they're boisterous, they're all of that. These are the things that make them perfect targets for bullies who do not have that level of self-confidence.
Sure.
So you have older students who will say to themselves, who does she think she is? And all of that, and she's just in JSS1, and they tend to pick on them. And this is where, like I said a minute ago, when you imbibe the right traits, when you build mental resilience and mental strength, the girls are able to manage that situation without you necessarily stepping in. Because one other thing that, you know, impacts children's mental health from childhood to adulthood is that 21st century parents seem to be quick to jump in.
Yes,
to save
stepping
them.
in to rescue them.
Yes, so you don't
from those
let
mean seniors.
Exactly. So you don't let them actually find their way around difficult situations. So what happens is they become adults who struggle at the slightest sign of a challenge or discomfort.
So letting them deal with it in their own way, or the way you taught them to deal with it beforehand, helps them later on in life.
A great way. Now, the other thing that I want to say is there is no single factor that determines the outcome of the state of or the quality of mental health of children, right? There has to be a number of factors at play. So, for instance, a child who grew up in a home where the environment was very volatile as a function of intimate partner violence or domestic violence, and then the child is experiencing bullying at school, and the child has a physical health condition that, you know, comes with a lot of pain or leaves them bedridden for a long time, or the child is bereaved in the process, you know, of experiencing all these other challenging factors. Yes, so this might impact their mental health negatively. On the other hand, children who have a supportive home environment, who have a supportive academic environment, who maybe even went through physical health conditions but had the right support systems, tend to, you know, tilt towards good mental health.
Okay. All right. Now, Obi, you know, we've actually taken quite a bit of time today to talk about this, but there's always more to this conversation. I have to say thank you so much for all you've done for the past few weeks.
Thank you,
We're talking about mental health, and it's very important because we're going into the holidays, and the holidays seem to be some of the periods where mental health is challenged the most during the year.
That's right.
Now, this is when families come together. Families that probably had issues before are forced into the same space, and this even includes your kids as well, having to not be in charge in their own space anymore.
Exactly.
Because they have elder cousins
and all of that. And then you have African parents who will say to you, oh, come and greet Auntie Titi. She carried you when you were a baby and all of that.
She changed your diapers. She did this, she did that. But please, if this message is for you, please take care of your family this season, especially their mental health. Look out for your kids. If you notice anything, get help and try and support them the best you can.